welcome once again to CanonBlogger.com. My name is Jason Anderson, and my tutorial this week, you'll notice, isn't starting in Photoshop. It's starting inside of the Adobe Bridge portion, of which actually is included with Photoshop. And the reason why I'm in Bridge is because I did a tutorial about 2 weeks ago showing you how to create web galleries from inside of Photoshop. And in light of some recent news that I learned in reading my Photoshop User Magazine from NAPP, the National Association of Photoshop Professionals, I found that you can actually select pictures from inside of Bridge and create your web galleries that way. And I've decided that this actually probably would be a better method for creating web galleries for 2 reasons. One, because you can actually select the images from Bridge. You don't have to go and move files over, because that would be more of a hassle. And 2, because this will allow you to keep a more consistent workflow in terms of your digital asset management, or what everyone calls DAM inside the photo industry. And we say DAM because it's a pain in the butt. No one wants to have to deal with digital asset management. And the method that I showed you 2 weeks ago in creating photo galleries creates duplicates. You can get duplicate files, duplicate folders, duplicate images, and really fill up your hard drives a lot faster if you use that method. So this is actually a preferred method. And what I've done here is I've gone ahead and moved over to Bridge, and I've opened up a shoot that I went on. This was at the Columbia Zoo. And what I'm going to do briefly is go over a little bit of digital asset management with you for my workflow so you can see what I do, and you can obviously adjust this to your own needs. But you can pick any one of a number of systems. The system I use goes by subject, and let me expand the thumbnail here. So you notice I'm in my images folder where I store all my images, and I've got all my folders categorized by subject. So these are the names of all the different shoots that I've gone on: Beadler in August, Carolina Fair Shots, Bull Island, and the web gallery that I just went ahead and created was at the Columbia Zoo. So what I did was I went to the Columbia Zoo and I double clicked in there, and since I've been there twice, I did a subfolder for 2005 and 2006. So I went to the most recent shoot, which was back in 2006, and I just started selecting the images that I wanted to produce in my web gallery. And before I go further with that, I do want to say, notice that my images are all raw images here. I don't save a lot of JPEGs. What I'll do is I'll have a folder with all the shots from my session, and I'll keep them in raw. Then I'll have one subfolder for PSD files, and I call that workups. Then I have another subfolder for stock, and this is where I will have final outputs in JPEG format, because those are the ones that you need to upload in JPEG format. So I don't do a lot of JPEGs. If I do a JPEG temporarily that I want to post on a web form or something like that, I'll save that to my desktop. Once I've uploaded it and posted it, I'll go ahead and delete it off my hard drive. I really have no need to save JPEGs other than for stock purposes. So anyway, that's how my digital asset management is set up. It works really well actually for Bridge, so I might want to take a look at using Bridge to organize my images more regularly. But what you do to create a web gallery from inside of Bridge is select the images that you want, and once they're all selected, click on Tools and go down to Photoshop, and then select Web Photo Gallery. And what that will do is that will take you over to Photoshop, and you can select your style just like I did in the other tutorial. Put in your email, put in the source images dialog, you notice it says selected images from Bridge. So you want to go ahead and leave that alone. The rest of the stuff you can change. I did 2 web galleries, one with the general format, and then one with large images. Actually, I think the first one was thumbnails. And then I did another one with large images where I can specify the size, and I told it to specify an output size of 600 pixels on the longest dimension with a medium JPEG quality, and use the file name for the title. Then you would click on OK, and what it would do is it would create the HTML files, create the thumbnails, create the large JPEGs for viewing on your web browser, and then it would display them in your web browser for you. I'm not going to do that now because I've already done it, and because it can take a while, especially if you're working with RAW. This was, let me go over the first one. This was the first gallery I created, and clicking through that you can see it actually does a fairly decent job in rendering sharpness. I'll take you to the home page that shows all the images, and it gives you the title that you put in, it gives your name, it gives the date it was created, and your email address, whatever you input there. Then it gives you the thumbnails. When you click on a thumbnail, it takes you to a larger version of it. You can navigate that way. You can click on the image again and take it back to the smaller size. The other one is where I specified a larger size for the thumbnail. And what happens when you click on that image is you do get a slightly larger image than in the default size. You can get a little more detail in your shots. I actually like that a little bit better than the smaller large size, because I do think it gives more detail and gives people a better idea of what it is you were trying to capture. So that is probably a more preferable way of creating web galleries from inside the Photoshop dialog. Having said that, I am moving more towards using Lightroom to create my web galleries because it does give you more options. You don't have to do as much with the code. On that note, I would like to take you over to the blog though, because I will be putting out a couple more articles on how to create web galleries and actually get into the code. So if you wanted to add links to other places, or if you wanted the galleries to be subsidiary to another part of your website, or if you wanted them to link to a blog or anything like that, there are going to be some articles coming out on that, so look for some coding articles that'll talk about the HTML and the CSS and things like that. They'll be coming out hopefully later on this week. I'm almost done with that whole article set, and I'm hoping to get that published. So if you look at it on the blog, you're going to get a pre-published version for free. So by all means, stop over to the blog and check out those articles. The other thing I'd like you to notice on the blog is I'm changing my header, or I've changed the header, I should say. I've got a rotating set of images that I'm putting up there in place of that static logo, and that will give people a little glimpse of some of the photos that I have in my gallery as I create them. So stop back and you'll see a new picture, hopefully every day. I'm trying to get that to refresh automatically. I'm having some coding troubles of my own though in getting that functioning, but I will manually refresh that at least once a day if I can remember. So stop over to the blog and you'll get a new picture every day. That's it for today. If anyone does have ideas for future tips, tricks, tutorials, or other software they'd like to see demoed on Canon Blogger, feel free to email me. The address, as always, is jason@canonblogger.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Bye.